good? It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. The Pistons got the Houston Rockets tonight, and I'm looking forward to it. I know this video is a little bit late coming, right? The game is in like an hour and a half, so feel free to just check it out for as long as you can. All right. But I'm going to go into both teams, what I think about where they're at to start the season, what I've seen so far in the first games, what I anticipate taking place in tonight's game, but also a little bit of long-term outlook. There's far more to observe about these two teams throughout this game than just the game itself, right? It's a long season, but each game is a metric for the direction that these teams are headed in. And I want to dive into that in this video. But before I do, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and bell for notifications. Appreciate all the love and support. Remember, it's a little thing, but it's a big thing for the channel when you smash the like button for me. Ghost Keeper, it's good to see you in the chat, brother. You're nervous about this game. I see that. I want to dive into that. Let me just start off by saying both of these two teams are incredibly talented, but both of these teams are also in two very different places in their journey. Houston is in their championship window. They've claimed it, they've named it, they are going for it. Bringing in Kevin Durant immediately was a sign that they are in a championship window. And I can't blame them. Alperen Şengün, an all-star worthy forward, dominant player. You have Amen Thompson in his quick ascension. He looks like he's ready for prime time. They had Fred VanVleet, which was a big part of them also deciding upon getting Kevin Durant. I don't think if they didn't have Fred VanVleet, I don't think that they go after Kevin Durant. If it was just Amen Thompson and Alperen Şengün, they probably take the direction of we still have some more pieces to acquire. All that being said, now you have guys like Reed Shepherd thrust into the spotlight. You have Tari Eason, who did not have the best game. You got Steven Adams, who's definitely for winning teams. You have a full roster that's trying to win it all right now. Built to play against the Oklahoma City Thunder, built to play against the Denver Nuggets, built to go up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it looks like the Golden State Warriors. They're ready. The Detroit Pistons, however, are in a different place. They're still trying to figure out who's going to remain on the ship as they head in the direction of a championship. Who's going to stay on the boat? Who's for this ride? Who needs to get off the train? Who do they need to bring on? Who gets to stay? The first game, I'm going to be honest with you. I did a short video after the Houston Rockets game, and I said they need to lean more heavily on Amen Thompson. As a consistent playmaker, someone who can drive to the basket, get downhill, create open looks. If you look at the space that guys were having after they caught the ball on an Amen Thompson feed after he drives to the basket, meaning as he attacks the rim, how much gravity does he have so that when he kicks it out, guys are catching it with just how much space between them and the next defender. Well, after watching the game, I'm recognizing that Amen Thompson has some of the best gravity in the NBA. And I mean LeBron James, Luka, Nikola Jokic, Stephen Curry. Before Ben Simmons took the Ben Simmons back in Philly, he used to have incredible gravity. Guys that demand so much attention from the defense that it literally creates openings for their teammates to just stand there and just catch and shoot. The easiest shot in the NBA, catch and shoot. And he was able to create that consistently against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Consistently. Breaking down that defense, it didn't matter if they had Alex Caruso, it didn't matter if they had Lewis Dort on them, Aaron Wiggins, SGA, it didn't matter. He was able to get downhill to the rim against just about anybody. And for some reason, they decided, well, probably going to do a video on this eventually, but is Ime Udoka, is he the coach for a championship run for these Houston Rockets? Does he have the offensive acumen to be creative enough, similar to a Tom Thibodeau, right? You motivate, you get them to play defense. You bought into a system, a culture, an identity, and yet you still need to make sure you can put points on the board because when you're going up against another team that's another great defensive team, you're going to need some offensive chops. And we didn't see it in game one. So let's be frank about that. But it's to say that Houston is headed in the right direction where they know who they are. Guys are bought into their roles. They're playing at a high level. They're showing that they have the ability to take the NBA champions to double overtime. Now, you might say, hey, J Dub wasn't there. Well, Fred VanVleet wasn't there. I'm not saying they're the same caliber player, but the significance of their roles on their teams is just about there in the same breath, if I'm honest with you. So it's to say that was a playoff matchup. That was not a fluke. The Houston Rockets taking the Oklahoma City Thunder to double overtime was a validation that they were 100% in their championship window. The Houston Rockets, 100%, are a championship contending team. The Detroit Pistons, however, whoo, oh, child, God, it was rough. It was rough. It was the type of game that if it was midseason, if it was game 36, 56, you might just chalk up to, hey, you know what? It's a long season. Guys sometimes lose a little focus. It's a marathon. You chalk it up to the game. Hey, you know what? They got us one. Came out flat. But this was game one of the regular season. This was the beginning of it all. This was when you're supposed to be amped, excited, can't wait. It's like the first day of school. And wearing last year's clothes. When you've got brand new clothes sitting there. Like you just forgot this was the day you were supposed to sport that new outfit. Mom's got you. And you went out there with bummy kicks. And then at halftime was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to be stunting on them. They made Modest Buzelis, Josh Giddey look way better than they really are. Way better. By far. By far. The moment they started playing their brand of defense, we saw what happened. It looked rough for the Chicago Bulls, that is. And yet they get to squeak out with the victory because Detroit wasn't ready. The Houston Rockets and the Pistons are in two very different places. When you're in a championship window, a playoff contention window, you shouldn't have to get guys ready. You shouldn't have guys standing around watching the game 30 seconds after they get on the court. Lazy passes, disheveled offense, bad rotations on defense, lack of boxing out, cheap fouls, right? A lack of being in rhythm. All these things are supposed to go out the window, especially for a game one. But if you're a serious team, these things should be second nature. It should be a part of the culture of your team. And it wasn't. And I'm going to be a little critical for a moment. I'm going to be a little critical. I was listening to an interview by Ron Holland. And, you know, Ron's going to have to get used to this because as he gets more and more into the spotlight, people are going to listen to what he says. And I forget exactly how he put it. Let me think for a second. He said something along the lines of, these things happen. These games happen. And I said to myself, no, they don't. No, they don't. Who else opening night did this happen to? That they came out flat in the first quarter. Who? Who? Who else looked flat? Who else looked like they didn't know what their roles were? Who else was making lazy passes? Who else wasn't fighting for rebounds? Who else was picking up cheap fouls 2 minutes into the first quarter and getting into foul trouble for the rest of the game? Who else didn't seem like in rhythm from their superstar for 3 quarters? Who else, Ron? Who else? These things happen. They happen to you. That is not what you're supposed to say after this game. Being responsible looks like saying, this is never going to happen again. Mark my words. I won't let it happen again. The moment I touch down on the court, I'm 0 to 100. This is not going to happen again. Not on my watch. That's the appropriate answer. Because that's the only answer. You're a professional basketball player. You've got one job. You've got one job. It's to hoop. Hoop. Get the rock, go get buckets, get stops, get it back, get more buckets. That's your one job. So when I think about this game tonight, it's in a couple hours. I'm interested to see who's going to step up, who's going to show up, who's going to make the adjustment. Let's be frank. The Houston Rockets are a big team. If Duren doesn't show up, we don't win. We don't have a chance. If Jalen Duren doesn't show up, meaning he's ready to compete, he's imposing his will on the glass, pick and rolls, boxing out, contesting at the rim, setting big screens without picking up the foul, playmaking, attacking his mismatch against Steven Adams, which is not going to be an easy feat, and Alperen Şengün, making the right plays. If he doesn't come ready, we don't stand a chance. We're gonna have Tobias Harris guarding. I'm curious if he's going to start off on Alperen Şengün or Steven Adams, because he's going to be overpowered by both. But I think they're probably more worried about Alperen Şengün overpowering and attacking Tobias Harris than they would be Steven Adams. The only problem is Jalen Duren is a far worse defender. So he might be in a position where he's going to pick up more fouls or be exposed to doing so. The reality is this is going to be a test for Jalen Duren. Looking in the chat here, Frank Nitty was good. I think Ron has an opportunity to show people who he is. I think he already is, but he's also showing people who he is, that he's still young. He's still young. He's talented, extremely talented, still really young. D-Dubs, it was a tough loss, but we've got no prolific scorer outside of Cade, and that's very true. We miss Jaden Ivey. In fact, we miss Marcus Sasser. Marcus Sasser is one dude I trust to go give the ball and say, go get us a bucket. Even if it doesn't go in, it looks good. It looks good. It looks like it's supposed to go in every single time. And yet, we got the game tonight. Who steps up? I do think that guys make the adjustment. Asar Thompson is going to be playing his brother, Amen Thompson. This is bragging rights. This is trash talking in the family group chat. This is both mom and dad watching. The whole family's watching. They probably all got tickets, right? They're probably going to go out to eat after the game, which means whoever lost is going to have to sit there and hold egg on their face. I think Asar Thompson comes out ready. I think Asar Thompson comes out locked in and ready to go. I got your comment in the chat. Frank Nitty, when does Sasser come back? It looks like he's ruled out again for today. It looks like they're taking it game by game. No long-term prognosis. So, yeah, he's not expected to go today. And we are going to need him. A couple things to look out for. Cade Cunningham versus Kevin Durant is always a great matchup. The way Cade Cunningham was able to dunk on the entire team, last season has to be ringing in the minds of the Houston Rockets because, yeah, that went viral. Uh, Amen Thompson is in a different role. Expect him to show up and show out as well. So our ability to contain on the perimeter is going to be at the forefront. But really, this game is going to be won on the glass. The thing is about the Houston Rockets is outside of Alperen Şengün and Kevin Durant, which are two tremendous offensive talents, they don't have a lot of firepower. They just don't. So if you're playing great defense, you're going to be able to stay in the game. But you got to play great defense because that's what it takes to slow both of those guys down. Even last game against a great defense, Alperen Şengün put up 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. Now, granted, it was in double overtime. Still 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. Jabari Smith Jr., who I put up 16 and 5. Steven Adams, 4 and 13. Kevin Durant, 23 and 9. I think he has a much bigger second game. He's settled in. His teammates are settled in. They know who he is. They know where he wants it. They've looked at the game film. I fully expect Kevin Durant to have a big game, unless we say otherwise. And that means Asar Thompson, you can't get into foul trouble. You can't. We're going to need you on Kevin Durant. We're going to need you against Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, Amen Thompson. We're going to need you out there playing your ass off. I think you're going to be able to do it. But you got to be locked in. And this is something that I want to kind of point out. How well are these Pistons settled into their roles? I understand guys have been working on stuff in the offseason. I understand they've been preparing for this season, taking that next step, that next leap. And to some degree, that means that there's a little bit of fluctuation in their role, in the expectation of the team. There's a little bit more leeway and bandwidth that the team is going to have to adjust to. What does it look like with Ron Holland playing more minutes and taking more shots? What does it look like Asar Thompson playing that point forward role? What does it look like Jalen Duren now taking double-digit shots per game instead of single digits, right? Because there were games last season he would end with 3 to 5 shots, 4 shots in a game, shooting 3 or 4. He had 12 shots in his first game. What does it look like to expect that level of offensive output? And I'm thinking physicality, intentional aggression, that offensive aggression coming from that center position. There's going to be an adjustment period. But is it clear on what the expectations are for these guys? What their roles are? Are they settled into it? These are all questions that I'm asking myself because if I'm honest with you, they look like a team that was still figuring themselves out. And I think that what has to happen is that they settle into their identity as a team. No matter what you're figuring out on offense, defense should be figured out. I don't think there's any new roles on this defense outside of starting Duncan Robinson, which makes Cade more of a point of attack defender. Or maybe you have Asar as the point of attack instead of Ivy. Either way, everyone else should know what they're supposed to be doing. During boxing out, challenging at the rim, talking on defense, being the back line of the defense, Tobias Harris being in the right place, directing people, Asar Thompson being on and off the ball, creating havoc. Cade Cunningham being physical on the perimeter, getting down into a stance, moving your feet, getting in those passing lanes. Let's get out in transition. Duncan Robinson being solid. You ain't got to be spectacular. Nobody's expecting you to become Ron Artest. We just need you to be solid. Solid enough not to be a cone. Karis LeVert, you were a cone yesterday. I'm sorry, a few nights ago. You were a cone on defense. They were blowing past you. Blowing past you. It wasn't even close. You were offering no resistance. We miss Marcus Sasser for sure. Isaiah Stewart, you did your thing, bro. You did your thing. You did your thing, bro. You ain't going nowhere. I ain't sending you nowhere for nothing. You the heart of this. Everyone else seemed to know their role. maybe a little bit coming off the bench. But those starters, they look lost. They look lost. They look lost. And we're going to need them locked in. What is your role on offense and defense? What are we expecting of you? Get to the right places. You guys have practiced this. Don't tell me JB Bickerstaff doesn't have you prepared because I'm telling you right now, if you come out again like you did against Chicago, against the Rockets, we're going to start looking at JB and we're going to start looking at Cade. Preparation and leadership. That falls on the coach and the star. That's who we're going to be looking at. Houston, I think they have those things checked. Ime Udoka, they're going to be prepared, especially on the defensive end. They're going to be locked in. And guys like Steven Adams, those veterans, I'm surprised they didn't play more Aaron Holiday. I thought that was a huge mistake against OKC. I think Aaron Holiday would have been huge for them. I think he would have played way better than Reed Shepard, but I understand they're more invested in Reed Shepard's long-term outlook. And if they don't play them, if they don't play him this year, he's going to start looking like Jimmer Fredette. Who I could have told you he's probably closer to than what all the data analysts thought he was. All that's to say is that Houston has plenty of veterans to keep everybody in line, to keep everybody locked in. That's a very professional locker room. So you're going to have to be ready. And I don't know if Detroit is, but I would bet that they're going to bounce back. If I had to bet, they're going to bounce back. This game will be competitive. I don't know if they'll win. I don't know if they'll win because it's a different level of attentiveness to detail when it comes to beating a contender. You're not operating on the superficial, oh, I just go out there, I give great effort. No, now you got to make the right reads. You're playing against Kevin Durant. You're not playing against Modest Buzelis, who's just trying to shoot threes or get downhill in a straight line drive. Playing Kevin Durant, who's got spots all over the court he shot 10,000 times from. He can go off at any minute. Make sure you stay in front of Amen Thompson. Make sure you're aware of Alperen Şengün's spin. He's going to pump fake you. You got to be ready. Stay down. Keep your hands up. Stay vertical. These are all things that they're going to have to be locked in. I think they will be. And I'll be interested to see how they close this game. How do they close? More than likely, you're going to see guys out there like Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr. You're going to have a lot of guys who can stay in front of Cade, who offer size, athleticism, and length, and physicality. I think they'll have the ability to make it tougher on him. I'm not saying they're going to be able to slow him down or stop him, but they've got guys. They've got bodies, quality bodies to throw at Cade. We'll see where that leads this game. If I have to bet, I'm betting that the Detroit Pistons have a bounce back game. This game will be close. I would say winner under 10 points. Under 10 points. Maybe 7 or 8 point difference, 3 to 5 point difference down the stretch. Free throws, shot at the end, other team trying to foul to save time, have more opportunities. It gets dragged out. Winner wins by 8 or 9. If you have to ask me who I think is going to win, I'm going to go with Detroit. I'm going to go with Detroit. Despite all the criticism, I'm going to go with Detroit because of this. I think when it comes down to it at the end of the game, they'll have the best player on the court. I think Cade is going to have a bounce back game in a major way. And I believe that Asar Thompson and Ron Holland are going to have a major impact on this game. And their ability to create turnovers, get out in transition, is going to be a major asset to generating offense in this game. I think Duncan Robinson has a bounce back game. I think he knocks down at least 3 to 5 threes in this game. shoots more aggressively. I think Jalen Duren gets up another 10 shots, and I think he stays on the court. I think when you factor all these things together, we begin to see more of the team that we saw in the playoffs last year against the Knicks than the team we saw a few nights ago against the Bulls. If I had to bet, I'd say the Pistons by 5 or 6. But hey, let me know what you all think. 17 people in the chat. Smash the like button for me if you enjoyed this video. It's a small thing for you, but a big thing for the channel. But I always like to leave you with something. Um, try not to judge life. Try not to judge life. Sometimes when life is hard, it becomes an opportunity to use tools to try to do life better, listen better, have more grace, patience, take care of yourself, practice better habits. And then sometimes when life is easier, lighter, it's a space where it's easy to lose those good habits, to forget about them, and then we fall out of practice. So try not to judge life, whether it feels good, whether it feels bad. Take it in stride and see what life is trying to teach you in the moment. But as always, I'm gonna get at y'all next time. It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Enjoy the game tonight. You know I will. I'm gonna get at y'all next time. Peace.